just inspiring to me, all of the ways in which women contribute to society in general, the strengths that they bring, the insights that they bring, the passion that they bring.
And good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for our Their Story Nevada Women's Special as we celebrate Women's History Month. We'll spend the next hour showcasing dozens of women in our state doing a variety of jobs who are impacting our lives in our community, everyone from lawmakers to medical leaders to business owners. But we start with two women who are leading our safety in Reno and throughout urban areas around Nevada. As Kim Burrows explains, both are the first women in their roles.
Chief Catherine Nance, in charge of 363 sworn officers on the streets of Reno and about 100 other staff members on the Reno Police Department. She's the first female chief at RPD, but she never dreamed she'd end up here.
I was 21, I had two little kids, and my mom said, you need a real job, and you need insurance and benefits, and bartending's not going to cut it.
Nance started at the Stockton Police Department, where she noticed few women in the academy. In her 26 years with the department, it was apparent there were not a lot of women in leadership roles.
Never really worked for a woman. I never had a sergeant or a lieutenant or anybody that was a woman that I came in contact with in my career.
Nance left Stockton as a deputy chief of operations, where she oversaw 400 sworn officers and other personnel and was responsible for a $107 million budget. She never felt an overall discrimination as she rose through the ranks, but there were some comments.
Little things like that people would say that made me realize that they weren't sure of my abilities based on my gender.
Fast forward to the Reno Police Department. The comments continued.
They'll ask me really weird questions like, well, have you ever arrested anybody? And yes, I've arrested a lot of people. And they just don't see me in that role.
Now, as she just celebrated her 2 years with the department, Nance says she promotes an equal playing field for all genders. She has some advice for the future generation and becoming a woman leader.
Find a role model, look around, even if you don't see it in your community, find one somewhere else.
We go from one woman who manages the urban environment to another who manages the forest. Casey, yes, that's her real name, is the state forester fire warden. In the hall, there are several photos of men who came before her, but she is the first woman in this position.
You know, just because it's a male-dominated industry, it doesn't mean that you aren't worthy of being in that position. And, you know, as long as you work hard and you understand what you're trying to do, it's like you can do it.
This Naden Nevadan from Gardnerville knew early on that she would do something outdoorsy. As she graduated with a forestry degree from the University of Montana, she spent 23 years with the State Division of Forestry and 8 as the state forester fire warden. The significance as the first woman didn't impact Casey in the beginning.
I was just working hard to get to where I was, and so I didn't think too much about it until I heard the responses of people who were like, wow, this is really cool. My own daughters, I have 2 daughters myself, and they were like, Mom, this is really cool. And
2 women, each in first-of-a-kind roles, making a difference and protecting our communities. Kim Burrows reporting.
All right, thank you, Kim. Well, there's a local nonprofit that responds alongside first responders to comfort those who might be having one of the worst days of their lives. Gabrielle Totten has overseen the Trauma Intervention Program, or TIP, since the chapter launched in Northern Nevada back in 2009. TIP consists of specially trained community volunteers who respond with police, fire, and paramedics to provide emotional and practical support to survivors of tragedy. Totten says being persistent has contributed to her successes over the years.
I am not a quitter. I don't give up easily, so I guess you could translate that to powerful, if you will, or just really pesky. I'm not sure. But I, for sure, am driven by this program. I had a personal experience with tragedy early in life that made me realize the value of this program and what it could do for folks in the community.
And as TIP continues to grow, they host biannual trainings to recruit the next generation of volunteers. Totten says a lot of current volunteers are UNR and medical students. Here's Totten's words of advice to a woman looking to run a nonprofit or business in the future.
Make it happen. Like, take the risk, get out there and step outside your comfort zone. That's the biggest thing, right? People get so caught up in what's comfortable to them, and today's the day. Make it happen.
Totten has taken the program from 11 volunteers to 65 over 15 years. Well, Reno city government is quickly becoming a place where women are leading the way in many positions. We went to City Hall to check in with some of those women dedicating themselves to the biggest little city in a big way. If you take a trip down to City Hall, there is a female vibe in the chambers that's hard to miss. The mayor, city manager, city clerk, and 5 of 7 council members, all women.
Right. And then, so here's the other thing. To your
Mayor Hillary Sheevy, who is entering her 11th year as mayor, says it was her negative experience as a small business owner about 15 years ago that prompted her to run for city council. She was elected in 2012.
I felt really energized to, instead of complain about it, but to change it. And that's whenever I decided to run for office.
Sheevy is proud of the wins she's been part of over the last decade as mayor. The Midtown District, Virginia Street Bridge, the Moana Pool Aquatic Center, and a new police station. She also recognizes the importance of efforts to bring down buildings and businesses because of blight. The recent project that she feels the best about, the Crisis Care Center.
And that was something that I worked on for 7 years, and that has to do with mental health and getting people the services that they truly need.
City Manager Jackie Bryant started with the City of Reno as Assistant City Manager in 2021. The housing crisis was her inspiration to sign up, knowing her passion could make a difference.
That was the reason that I came, so that I could really work on some systemic changes as opposed to some Band-Aids.
In July, Bryant became acting city manager, and in December, her position became official. There are several newer programs up and running under her guidance. The City Walks program, where workers go out into the community to problem solve for residents. The Rapid Rehousing program that uses council money to bridge the gap for residents between Social Security payments and low-cost housing. And the Court and Rental Assistance programs.
We want to be able to give people the help that they need so that they don't lose their housing, or that we can help them get into housing.
75% of the employees in the city manager's office are women, but Bryant says they've been so busy she hasn't had much time to focus on that.
One of the things that I think the women that I've worked with do particularly well is that they're able to talk through conflict. They're able to navigate differences of opinion often without some of the barriers that might exist simply because of who they are.
Both the mayor and city manager are proud of the work being done at the city level. And for young women considering a career in city government, they say anything is possible.
It is a wonderful opportunity. You can make a huge difference in people's lives. It is a lot of work, but it is filled with people who have aligned passions.
And so I really just hope and pray that young women are aspiring to run for office and be the future of our cities.
When it comes to decisions at the state legislature, women not only make up a majority in both the Assembly and the Senate, but 3 of the 4 leadership roles are held by women. Our Sophie Lincoln is highlighting their stories.
6 years ago, the Nevada legislature made history when it became the first majority female legislature ever in the state of Nevada, and women still hold that majority today. In 2019, Senator Nicole Cannizzaro became the first woman to lead the Democratic majority, a position which she still holds now. While in that role, Senator Cannizzaro has also given birth to 3 boys, something that she says has shaped her experience and priorities in the legislature.
I think that definitely has given me the perspective of why it is so important, right, to have these workplace protections for working moms. Working moms are a huge part of our economy. We help drive that.
Senator Cannizzaro has pushed for legislation ensuring protections in the workplace for pregnant women and investing in lactation spaces for breastfeeding moms.
I know just how important it is to have, spaces for lactation so that breastfeeding mothers, as I am one, can continue to provide for their little ones while also still serving in whatever capacity it is that they might be serving in public office.
Across the aisle, leading the minority party, is another impressive and powerful woman, Senator Robin Titus.
I've always wanted to be in charge. If nobody else takes charge, I'll take charge. But I wait to see if somebody else wants to.
Senator Titus has served in the state legislature for 10 years now, starting out as an assembly member in 2015 and watching firsthand the legislature's transformation into a majority female governing body.
It's not my first rodeo when it comes to being the first in anything. I was the first woman in chemical chemical engineering at the University of Nevada School of Mines.
But she says there's still work to do.
I would consider that we have equal rights when people stop pointing out that the women are in the majority in this house, that we are recognized based on our competency, the jobs that we do, and not what our background is, what our sex is, how we identify, just the fact, can you do the job here to do? And then I think we'll have true equal rights.
Reporting in Carson City, Sophie Lincoln.
Both women are sponsoring more than a dozen bills each this session and serving on several committees. The majority floor leader for the Assembly member Sandra Jauregui, is also breaking the mold as a female leader. Well, still to come, County Commissioner Mariluz Garcia is breaking racial barriers and helping with the future generation. We'll have her story coming up. And we'll introduce you to a woman leading the way in educating kids in the second largest school district in the state. As women, we often juggle multiple roles, especially if you're a working mom balancing two jobs, all while breaking down racial barriers. Yet somehow, County Commissioner Mariluz Garcia does it just every single day like that, navigating these challenges with incredible strength and grace. Andrea Sparza has her story.
It's incredible to be able to do the work that I do, to serve the community in this capacity, both as an educator and as a commissioner, and to be able to have a seat at the table is a huge honor.
Mariluz Garcia is a force in multiple spaces as Washoe County Commissioner for District 3 and staff member at the University of Nevada, Reno.
Remember people saying, what is the school counselor going to do as a politician or in this seat in government? And I find that, the ability to listen to people and take in their stories and be empathetic to their struggles, and also being able to handle really stressful situations and staying calm and respectful have all really come into play over the last 2 years.
It's that same heart and empathy that drove Mariluz to enter politics, paving the way and breaking barriers for the Latino community.
And I'm the first Latina ever elected to this county commission seat. And to me, that was huge. It was huge to my family. It was huge to my students. It's a tremendous honor. And it also frustrates me that I had to be the first.
To change the narrative, Mariluz is looking ahead, balancing her time between the county and UNR, where she serves as an executive director of the Dean Future Scholarship Program, which empowers low-income, first-generation college students to reach for their dreams.
Just stepping into this space reminds me about how inspiring it is to work with youth to help them achieve their goals. And they keep me humble.
The road to success has not been easy, but Mariluz is passionate about the next generation. She shares a powerful message with women of all ages.
I'd say buckle up, girl. You're going to be working your butt off.
In Reno, I'm Andrea Sparza. Back to you.
Garcia, who is both Basque and Mexican, is a steadfast advocate for underserved communities. She champions change through county policies and by empowering the next generation through education, helping pave the way for their success. Well, helping lead the second largest school district in the state is Washoe County School District Deputy Superintendent Tiffany McMaster.
So I am an educator and teacher at heart. I've been with the Washoe County School District for over 26 years and started as a teacher and became an administrator, assistant principal, worked as an area superintendent, and now I'm the deputy superintendent.
In this role, she wears many hats, including overseeing the academic functions of the school district, which includes both elementary and secondary curriculum instruction. And when it comes to being a leader in education, McMaster gave us this insight.
I think that leadership is not about ambition or perfection. It's about following your heart and, leading with integrity and respecting people and relying on your team. Teamwork is an essential function. I think anytime somebody can be in a profession where they're leading with their heart, everything just kind of comes natural.
The deputy superintendent also says she hopes that women don't steer clear of challenges and be brave and bold and take risks because of all that they have to offer. We're honoring an extraordinary woman whose passion and dedication is changing lives across the globe. Carina Black is a force for good, helping refugees from all corners of the world rebuild their lives with strength, resilience, and dignity. Black, the first and only executive director of the Northern Nevada International Center, has worked with more than 9,000 refugees from around the globe, including those from the Congo and Afghanistan. She says it's a challenging yet profoundly humbling role, one that has opened her eyes to the immense struggles women face in their home countries, where they endure horrific war crimes. Yet, despite these unimaginable hardships, they arrive in the United States with an unwavering sense of hope and optimism for the future.
It doesn't matter whether they're from Afghanistan or Congo or Latin America, anywhere. Women have this central role in making their family more comfortable and more successful, and that same thing extends to our communities.
Black and her team are currently navigating a federal funding freeze that's impacting operations locally, so the center currently is not accepting new clients, but she says she's forging ahead and navigating these rough waters. Well, coming up, making history in the Reno Sparks Chamber of Commerce. We'll introduce you to the woman doing just that. And you may have tasted their snacks the last time you traveled. It's a worldwide business founded right here in Northern Nevada. We'll meet the mother-daughter duo behind it all. In its 100-plus year history, only one woman has ever led the Reno Sparks Chamber of Commerce. Meet Ann Silver. For the last 8 years, she's overseen the largest business organization in Northern Nevada, with more than 2,000 members who employ over 100,000 people in Washoe County. The Chamber of Commerce is the voice for small businesses in the northern part of the state. Silver works alongside many powerful women-owned businesses in our community.
As a woman in business, I think we do marvelous things. I think this gender is just amazing. We are great moms and spouses and coworkers and mentors, and we produce so much culturally and economically, and socially. And I think to recognize women is to recognize our competencies, all of them, every single day.
When it comes to inspiring the next generation of women in business, this is Silver's message to anyone looking to take a leap of faith.
I think you mostly need to have confidence, and that confidence comes from a number of resources. Your internal sense of confidence in what you want to do and achieve, your aspirations and your inspiration. And then I think having a mentor, someone who has done what you want to do, maybe it's even a competitive business, but they will give you the ground rules and tell you what the opportunities are as well as the challenges. I think that's incredibly important.
The Chamber is funded solely by its members and receives no state or federal funding. Well, there's a mother-daughter duo running a company in Northern Nevada that has taken its business worldwide. Kim Burrows tells us about Stellar Snacks.
There's a new twist on life for a Carson City mother and daughter team.
It tells the story of my mom and us together on this journey.
Elizabeth was set out to make snacking more enjoyable with better ingredients and opened her first snack company in 1992 in Reno. Then Stellar Snacks was born a few years ago with the production plant in Carson City. They make pretzels with a purpose, all the way from the sustainable grown ingredients to Gina and her college friend creating the artwork on the first bag that now inspires other artists. Behind it all, these women in the workforce.
Yeah. So I had the best role model in my household. My mom is so inspiring as an entrepreneur and always instilled in me the idea that I should never doubt anything about my own potential.
Elizabeth asked Gina to join Stellar Snacks when Gina was a junior at Loyola Marymount University studying creative marketing and women's and gender studies. The perfect fit.
And I think what you're able to see when you have female founders at the helm of the ship is that the women in our company can see themselves in business and leadership roles.
The smaller snack bags are now handed out to passengers on several airlines. The company is so successful, the mother-daughter duo just opened a second bakery in Louisville, Kentucky. Its Carson City location will stay online. The two women making a difference in the snacking business and the workforce, passing their knowledge on to other women.
We have that connection with women when we know how hard sometimes we have to push. But my advice to women is, if you believe in something and you believe that you are capable, just go with it, and don't be afraid of obstacles.
In Carson City, Kim Burrows reporting.
The mother-daughter team had its first Stellar snacks in its first store the summer of 2021. Now you can buy them in all 50 states and multiple stores here in Nevada. Well, you might be surprised to know that one of the area's largest home painting franchises is owned and operated by a woman. This is Mary Wink. For the past 5 years, she's owned and operated CertaPro Painters. Wink was a banker for nearly 30 years when she decided to change gears and head for the construction industry. She says she's always interested in hiring women painters because they offer a unique skill set.
I find that they can be very detailed and very good painters. There are some limitations in terms of just the physical things that they can do, but if you get them in the right role, they can be just fabulous.
As for inspiring the next generation of construction workers, Wink says there are no barriers that can't be broken through, and having confidence and perseverance can make you just as successful in a male-dominated field.
I realize it's kind of a silly thing, but when you see somebody, then you believe you can do it.
After 2 decades in college athletics, we'll be taking a look at Nevada Athletic Director Tiffany Remp's path to helping elevate Wolfpack sports. And paving the way through photography, we have the story of the woman behind the lens who is capturing history. Meet her, believed to be the first full-time newspaper photographer in the Silver State, coming up. Marilyn Newton is believed to be the first woman hired as a full-time newspaper photographer in Nevada. Our Nevada Sportsnet's Shannon Kelly caught up with her where she spends the most time taking pictures. Still today, the Reno Rodeo.
Born in Mississippi and raised in Carson City, Marilyn Newton's love for photography started when she was young.
My mother was the circulation manager at the Nevada Appeal in Carson. I showed an interest in it, so the publisher had me write my first story for publication at 12, and I shot my first photo for publication at 13.
That was just the beginning of Newton's career as she worked at the Nevada Appeal throughout high school.
Well, I found out there was a job opening at the Reno Evening Gazette, and I went down to apply, but by the time I got home 15 minutes later to my furnished room, I had the job.
Shooting with her Brownie camera, Newton was one of a few female photojournalists in the Silver State and the first full-time female photographer for the Reno Gazette-Journal.
That was really different because women didn't do those kinds of things. There were only a few of us in the whole state. The men didn't accept me as a photographer because I was not of their sexual thing.
Newton kept busy capturing some of Northern Nevada's best photos.
I think they figured it was time that I was gone, so they retired me. I'd probably still be there if it was me. I loved it. For the most part, I loved almost everybody I worked with, and I love what I did.
When I asked Newton what some of her most memorable shots were, this was her response.
Do you have 4 or 5 hours?
She hopes to inspire those around her that anything is possible.
For the women out there, you got a dream, pursue it. You can do anything you want to do. Don't let anybody tell you you can't, because you can.
Since Newton was 18, she hasn't missed a single Reno rodeo. Not even battling breast cancer could stop her from shooting her favorite event.
I think I'd go nuts if I couldn't have a camera with me all the time. I always have my camera with me.
For Nevada Sportsnet, I'm Shannon Kelly.
Well, Tiffany Remp is the second female athletic director in Nevada athletics history, taking over the position almost 3 years ago. Nevada Sportsnet's Shannon Kelly introduces us to the PAC's fearless leader.
It's hard to sum up what sports mean to Tiffany Remp.
I did go to college not to play sports, and after a fall semester of realizing I was pretty lost because it had created every bit of structure I'd had my entire life, and then ended up playing volleyball at Arizona.
The Santa Barbara native helped guide the Wildcats to the Sweet 16 in 1993. Remp's journey to becoming an athletic director started shortly after.
As a student athlete, I just didn't have a whole lot of role models in our profession. I read a lot of books about women, and that really impacted me. And then I remember watching something on the news and seeing somebody being sworn into the Senate that kind of looked like me, and I was like, I realize it's kind of a silly thing, but when you see somebody, then you believe you can do it.
After 25 years in athletic administration at 6 different universities, Remp is one of 10 female athletic directors among 134 FBS schools.
I think that more than anything, past even gender, is just the fact that she has absolutely earned that. There's not a role that she has not overseen or done herself. So I think that equips her to be elite at what she does, and she is.
I worked for a leader for 14 years at 3 different schools, and he did so many things to put me in a position to learn how he operated, what was important, how you manage some of the politics. He was a master at that. I sometimes feel like I could write a book for some of the things that I've seen in this profession.
Remp leads the Wolfpack with a student-athlete mindset, while tasked with elevating Nevada athletics.
I remember I was in college and our coach was talking to me about wanting the ball. Like, I want the ball here, right? If there's any issue that is about to be faced, I want the ball. And I know I learned that from sports.
Her entire career has been someone that rolls up her sleeves, puts her head down, and goes to work and does these monumental things behind the scenes, and people probably don't realize it. I believe wholeheartedly that she is the hardest working athletic director in the country.
In Reno, Shannon Kelly, Nevada Sportsnet.
And the Nevada Women's Fund will recognize Tiffany Remp this month as one of Northern Nevada's most respected female leaders.
You got to make connections, you've got to reach out, you've got to find mentors.
Still to come, leading the way in innovative healthcare, the CEO of Northern Nevada Hopes shares her message to the next generation of women leaders. And how 2 women from Renown Health and the university are making a big impact on the lives of children while also breaking barriers in the industry. Meet Dr. Deeter and Dr. Cooper up next. The region's healthcare system is getting a big boost from women leaders across the board. We wanted to highlight some of the women in our community who are part of the progress being seen in Northern Nevada. First up is Dr. Kris Deeter, the chair of pediatrics and physician-in-chief at Renown's Children's Hospital. Dr. Deeter leads a growing team of pediatric physician specialists and providers. She has over 20 years of experience working in children's hospitals and outpatient settings. With Northern Nevada facing a severe shortage in pediatricians, one of her main goals and accomplishments has been expanding her team.
We now have over 20 pediatric providers that work for Renown and UNR, and we did not have that. We used to have about 4. And we have over 50 pediatric specialties now in our community. 25 of those work at Renown specifically.
Dr. Deeter says she's also extremely proud of her work to launch the pediatric residency program. Previously, UNR med students interested in becoming pediatricians had to leave the area to complete their residency training. Now, this program allows them to fulfill that requirement while working alongside renowned pediatricians.
After medical school, they can train with our pediatricians here in Reno for over the 3 years of their residency, and they can make the choice to maybe stay in our Northern Nevada area, whether that's a rural site or within our urban sites, and provide care to the kids here who need it the most.
And this program is a huge step in the right direction when it comes to addressing the state's physician specialist shortage. Nevada ranks 45th in the nation for the number of active physicians per 100,000 people and 47th for pediatricians. Another healthcare professional working to better the lives of children is Dr. Takesha Cooper. She's the chair of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences at the University of Nevada School of Medicine and the chief of Psychiatry for Renown. Cooper moved from Southern California to Reno with her family at the end of July of 2023. With Nevada's healthcare system ranking low in the U.S., she felt it was a place where she could make a big difference. She talks about the impact her job has on the lives of kids and some of her goals for the industry.
It's just so fulfilling when you see patients that get better, and I want that for every child. I want them to have a space where they can talk about their feelings. I want to reduce mental health stigma, expand the workforce so that we really can help kids and their families.
Cooper was recently involved in the development and opening of Renown's Crisis Care Center. As Renown continues to be women continue to be underrepresented in the medical field, Cooper emphasized the importance of mentoring. She says she's always challenging herself to be a more effective and inclusive leader.
I'll never know everything, but that I can learn anything. And that's been really helpful for me, and that's something I teach my patients and my own children.
Some great advice. Well, there's a woman who would be hard not to have heard of when it comes to healthcare and community well-being in Carson City. But her experience with Carson Tahoe Hospital didn't start as an employee. Kitty McKay, the Vice President of Community and Patient Experience, was a patient years ago at Carson Tahoe. Because of the care and compassion she received, she's made it her home for the last 16 years, working to continue the tradition of health and healing. Her career started at Carson Tahoe's foundation that supports different patient programs. She created Hope Fest, an annual event for patients in cancer treatment to help with non-healthcare expenses. Well, now she's a driving force behind bringing more behavioral health services for children in the Carson Valley, but also an outreach program that inspires youth connection, a proactive approach to mental health with a generation that often feels disconnected.
We have this very robust programming that goes out into the community, and it really helps kids find themselves, find their voice, and create connection.
The program began with support from the state, and McKay is hoping to getting kids to create around food, movement, art, and outdoors will address declining mental health in a more preventative way. McKay is one of 5 women who make up the senior leadership team at Carson Tahoe. She says women who bring dynamic business skills and heart to the job make great leaders in healthcare.
One of the things women potentially bring more than men is just a general sense of empathy and connection to others. And so we potentially look at things a little more holistically.
She says for young women looking for a career in service and health, be ready for the most challenging and rewarding experience you can imagine. And in Kitty's case, it's a family path she now shares with her daughter, a social worker supporting patients at Carson Tahoe. Well, also leading the way in innovative healthcare is Sharon Chamberlain, the CEO of Northern Nevada Hopes. Under her leadership, Hopes has evolved from a small HIV service organization to a growing community health center serving more than 17,000 patients. Their mission is to provide affordable and high-quality care to all. Chamberlain has served as CEO of the organization since 2011. She talks about how important it is to serve vulnerable populations because she too once experienced many of the same challenges they face.
Serving vulnerable people and just people in need is so important because I was one of those people at one point in my life, and I experienced homelessness and addiction and really struggled for quite a long time.
Chamberlain says she has a sense of gratitude seeing people just like her get the care that they need and be treated with respect. She offers some words of wisdom for the future generation of women leaders.
For the next generation of powerful women, and there will be a great generation, I just encourage people to network and make connections. I think that is the #1 important thing in your role as a woman in our community.
Chamberlain says one of her greatest accomplishments is helping to expand Hopes by opening up a second clinic in 2024. It's located on East 4th Street near the CARES Campus Homeless Shelter. Well, she's putting Reno on the map while emphasizing the importance of body positivity. We'll introduce you to influencer Gabby Hall.
I have a special place in my heart for fellow veterans, and being able to help them get the care that they need is huge.
And we'll hear from Veterans Guest House CEO Sylvia Frosley on how her time in the military has helped her to shape her into the leader she is today. Many nonprofits in our region are led by women, one of them being the Veterans Guest House. It started in the early 90s as a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home that provided free overnight stays for veteran families seeking medical care in the Reno-Sparks area. It now serves up to 33 people per night and provides additional resources such as transportation and meals. CEO Sylvia Frosley served in the Navy for 5 years and says she's learned a lot from trailblazing women.
When I was on board USS Nimitz, the first flight deck bosun, who was a female, I got to work for, who really served as a mentor. And I know that it's been difficult for those who have made the way for women CEOs such as myself coming up, and I look forward to doing the same for others coming behind me.
Frosley says her biggest accomplishment as CEO has been the rapid expansion of services for the veterans in this community. She says her favorite part of the job is being able to say yes to every veteran who needs them. And helping to empower families to achieve their goals and dreams is Kelly Maxwell, the CEO of Baby's Bounty. The 16-year-old nonprofit supports at-risk families by providing the education and essential tools needed to care for a newborn. Their Diapers for Diplomas program allows parents enrolled in higher education institutions to receive free diapering supplies for a year. They also host recurring diaper banks across Nevada, where families can pick up a week's supply of diapers and wipes for up to 3 children. Maxwell shares how being a woman and a mother helps her understand the needs of other moms.
So our role in the community and our mission is to provide a good start for every baby. And I think being a female in this role, knowing what motherhood demands, not that gentlemen can't understand that too, but I think women are uniquely skilled to understand what other women, and particularly mothers, need.
Baby's Bounty also recently celebrated a major milestone, distributing 5 million diapers and 10 million wipes in 5 years. The closest diaper bank is located in Sparks at 1410 Gregg Street. Well, there are some 207 million influencers around the world. Here in the biggest little city, we have our own token content creator, Gabby Hall. She's putting Reno on the digital map, all while emphasizing the importance of body positivity.
Here goes Gabby.
And I was a journalist, and through all of that, I was doing a lot of travel, and I always wanted to share that. So one weekend, I was hanging out with some college girlfriends, and I was going to start this travel blog, and ultimately, one of my friends came up with the name Here Goes Gabby.
Content creation exploded during the pandemic.
Good morning. Well, let's get ready for work.
For the first time, people were sharing how they got ready for the day and getting paid for it.
The pandemic is when I really started to grow my audience because people were sitting around really craving that content.
Here Goes Gabby is well known in town, boasting 12,000 followers, hyper-local content, and most notably, body positivity.
I found the body positive community and realized so many others were struggling with the same things that I was struggling with. I decided that I want to start sharing my journey, understanding fashion, what feels good on my body, and like the fact that you can be confident as a plus size person.
Gabby, how important is it to you to show up for the women in our community and to amplify their voices through your content, which I think you do so well?
Thank you. For me, the women in my life have always been some of the biggest motivators and the people that have given me the bravery to push myself to the next level. So building a community of women, empowering women is really, really critical to my platform.
Being ingrained in our community doesn't stop with content creation. She's also a part of a local band called the Subtle Lovers. Here Goes Gabby is not all about singing and dancing.
I obviously love working with our local bars and restaurants. I love coming to places like this, like Curse of Cain. And I work with the food bank, for example, when they have different competitions, contests, fundraisers, I work with them to promote that. And if I can use my platform to impact causes in our community, that's just a cherry on top of everything else.
In Reno, I'm Madison McKay.
And to find more Here Goes Gabby content, our Madison McKay and Gabby Hall have a joint segment called Hidden Hotspots on ARC Reno, where they help you discover and rediscover local hidden gems. Well, a woman is hitting the right note as a conductor and music director for the Reno Philharmonic. Kim Burrows tells us about her worldwide impact.
The Nevada fight song isn't the only thing that has pep. Look at the conductor. That's Laura Jackson, conductor and music director, the first woman music director at the Reno Philharmonic. She's been the first woman on many podiums as guest conductor nationally and internationally.
So there still is a glass ceiling. There's still a level where no woman has cracked that ceiling.
And I long for the day when that happens.
Jackson is going into her 17th season at the Reno Phil. She brings that spunk and energy to every performance she conducts, and along the way inspires the next generation with her drive and her reassurance to up-and-coming women musicians.
Don't do what so many of us did 20 years ago, trying to be like all the men that we saw conducting. Just be themselves and offer who they are and what they are as in all their femininity and strength at the same time.
Inspiring women and really everyone who is in her presence.
When I am out there making music with the Reno Phil, it is unlike anything else in my life experience. It is unparalleled. I'm having the time of my life.
In Reno, Kim Burrows reporting.
We're with girls sharing life skills with them, how to be confident, how to be compassionate, how to have character, how to have care, how to make good connections. Still to come, a program aiming to help girls build their confidence and recognize their inner strength, and the story behind the woman who runs it. And she's leading the way to keeping Tahoe blue. Coming up, we'll have Dr. Darcy Collins' story, the CEO of the organization. For the last 65 years, the League to Save Lake Tahoe has been the lake's strongest environmental watchdog. But as the lake continues to grow in popularity, so have the problems. Today, we introduce you to the woman who is leading the way in keeping Tahoe blue.
Around these parts, you just can't miss it. A saying so common, it's everywhere. Keep Tahoe blue. But what does it mean? And who's the leader behind the org making waves? Enter Tahoe native and CEO of the League to Save Lake Tahoe, Dr. Darcy Collins. She's been on a mission, decades in the making.
We helped create a system of protections in Tahoe back in the 50s and 60s, and we've been advocating for implementing those protections and making sure they're very strong.
From her days as the League's first intern to now, Dr. Collins' role has evolved.
We're all fully funded by donor funds. Wow. So a lot of my time is spent building those relationships and finding foundations and private donors to continue to support our work.
It's research, along with her skill of sustaining support through donors, that has a real-life ripple effect. With generous donations and grants, the League's 20 full-time employees and volunteers are able to dive into the deep end.
But a lot of the outside pressures are continuing to grow, just like they are in the rest of the world. And over the last decade or so, or a couple of decades, we've realized that just advocacy is not enough. We need to figure out how to make sure our community's educated and wants to help us protect Tahoe.
Through data, research, and cleanups, the nonprofit has been able to make policy change, recently influencing the city to adopt a bold ban on single-use plastic water bottles. Dr. Collins says it's these small acts of change, along with the hope for future leaders, that keeps Tahoe blue.
Focus on the people. Make sure you have the right expertise in place, but focus on building the team and maintaining a positive morale around the work we're doing, because it's hard, and we're doing it because we love it.
That was Arena Plunkett reporting. If you'd like to learn more on how you can help to keep Tahoe blue, just go to their website, keeptahoeblue.org. Well, it's all about building life skills while helping girls feel comfortable in their skin and being confident in their uniqueness. Girls on the Run Sierra's Executive Director, Joy Hoyer, says this is one of the many goals they have for the girls who go through their program. The 10-week program meets twice a week and also aims at building life skills.
Things that they can take with them as they grow and they develop and they find their path, but also it's good for our community. We say we're sort of an economic development engine where we are empowering girls to stand up for themselves and others. We're empowering them to try new things.
She also shares her own life personal experience.
And I remember being that age, and I remember being in middle school and high school and college, and even now navigating the things in our society that they get to navigate, you want to make sure that they have that confidence and that they know that they are heard and they are understood.
And as we continue Women's History Month, Hoyer's message for the next generation is to keep learning, use your voice, and be kind. For more information on the program, you can visit girlsontherunsierras.org. Well, we also want to recognize our Vice President and General Manager of News 4 Fox 11 and Nevada Sportsnet, Amy Chapman. She's been leading our station for 11 years and is currently the only woman in this position at any of the television stations in Reno. And we love her, a mentor for all of us.
It's been our pleasure to highlight these incredible, inspirational women in our community. And I'm thrilled to be a part of this list.
Well, thank you for watching our Women's Special, and we want you to know this special report was put together exclusively by all women, from our news director, our assistant news director, other newsroom managers, all of those reporters, photographers, the editor, and the technical director, and everyone else behind the scenes. So thank you so much for all your hard work, and thank you for watching. It's been a pleasure.